In the city of Philly, where the birds take flight. Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Tone and Marcus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the broad street lights. Dashing like a running back, hitting every play. Flying guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. Fly like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Marcus always standing by. Bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle soars in the sky. Tone and Marcus always standing by. Bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Wingspan wide, catching all the vibes. Breaking down the huddles, catching all the tides. Every storm they face, never taking sides. Eagle vision clear with pride that never hides. Cheering loud in the vet, the links where they roam. From past legends to the young, calling it home. Weekly updates, buzzing like a drone. Deep dives and highlights of the unknown. Fly like an eagle soars in the sky. Tone and Marcus always standing by. Bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle soars in the sky. Tone and Marcus always standing by. Bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry.
Yeah. You guys know the vibes. You guys know the energy. You guys know what we're doing here on a Sunday fun day. NFL football is back. Week 8 is here. I can't wait to talk football with my guy Marcus. I feel like I ain't talked to you in like 2 weeks, bro. What's going on, man? You hiding from me or what?
Nah, man. It's been good. It's been good. It's been busy trying to step my game up.
Okay.
Get some things like as you all heard the intro and I'm working on some stuff, some new graphics, had some experiments I was doing yesterday. Yeah, man, grinding and growing, bro. You know how it go.
Yo, it's funny when you sent me the song, because you sent it to me yesterday, and you was like, yo, bro, I'm starting to feel this thing. I'm like, what you talking about? The pregame show? What's going on? And you said, listen, I'm gonna sing you something. And you sent me the track, and I'm like, word, okay, I like this. So I was up until like 12, 1, 2 in the morning, just playing around on Canva, just trying to, jazz up our little intro a little bit. And you guys, shout out to my man Marcus, shout out to Coach Marcus from Pro Fan Talk for curating that new tune, that new hit that you guys hear when you get your Eagles pregame show. So make sure you guys continue to lock in on the content. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the show. We appreciate the love and the support. We are live on multiple platforms. We are live on Chalk It Up Sports. We are live on Pro Fan Talk YouTube channel. Make sure you guys go subscribe and hit that like button. We're also live on Twitch and live on Facebook. So make sure you guys are engaged. We appreciate all the love, all the support. We can't get anywhere without the people, man. The people are currency. The like button is currency. So we appreciate you guys for helping us get to this point. Week 8, man. 8 weeks of doing this, right, Marcus? Like,
yes, sir.
The season has had its ups, downs, it's been an overall roller coaster ride for the Philadelphia Eagles, but it's starting to feel like this team is beginning to find some level of stable ground. Now, some people may say, hey, hold on, pump your brakes, Philly. You beat the Giants and you beat the Browns. Relax. But then I also say, well, hold on. Those of you who are high on the Bengals who think they just always had this magic elixir to their slow starts in the season, they just came off of 2 wins beating those same 2 teams, the Browns and the Giants. So if we're going to weigh those 2 victories for the Eagles one way, we have to weigh those same 2 victories against those same 2 opponents the exact same way against the Cincinnati Bengals. So, Marcus, I ask you, right, when you think about everything that's led up to this moment, led up to this game, because this is a very important game that you and I both agree with. When you think about everything that's led up to this game for both teams, and I know this is a tough day for you personally.
Yes.
How do you see this thing playing out to an extent? And I know we're going to get into the layers, but just unpack your overall thoughts about this matchup and everything that led to it.
Just like I said last week and the week before, we're at the point nothing's changing. the keys are always the keys. We have some prerequisites that we gotta understand. We have to win the line of scrimmage. The offensive line has to be doing what they're supposed to do. Right now that we know, Saquon Barkley is the engine that makes it go. There is no misunderstanding in that regard anymore. Saquon Barkley is going to make Jalen Hurts go. Jalen Hurts is going to make AJ Brown go and Devontae Smith go and whoever the hell is playing tight end today.
Mm-hmm.
So Saquon should be the focus. Everything should revolve around him, play action, everything. And if we can do that, and Jalen Hurts takes the right shots down the field, cross the middle, everything that we've been saying, ain't nobody wrong. Nobody's wrong. If you out there saying that, we complain too much because we're one drop pass from being a one-loss team, you're right. If you're out there saying Jalen Hurts needs to see the field better and he keeps missing open receivers, you're right.
You're right.
The defense needs to get better. We still need to tackle better. You're right. The edges on the defensive line have played better, but we need a little bit more from them. You're right. There's no wrong answers in those scenarios. So it's all about last week, the Giants game. That was the first game, all three phases played effectively. Almost dominant. The run game was dominant, but we got it done in all three phases of the game. That's where we have to be consistent. So to your point, yes, we've been up and down, but now we got a little bit of stabilization. I don't want to say we have hit altitude yet and we're evening out because we should still be on the incline. Because we still got a lot of stuff to clean up and there's a lot of meat left on the bone.
In my personal opinion, Marcus, and I'm sorry to cut your wisdom, brother, but for me, to your analogy, right, about the plane, just starting to hit that incline, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, through these 2 wins, maybe I'm a stickler, maybe my expectations are high, but I still feel like we haven't even left the runway yet. I still, I'm of that mindset. We were struggling just to get through TSA. we were struggling to get through TSA. You feel me?
Yeah.
We finally made it through TSA. We've boarded. You feel what I'm saying? We're going through the motions. We've all flown planes before. We've all, hopefully, right? If you've been blessed. We all know how that goes. You get on the plane, they got to go through all the routines. Hey, buckle up. Hey, this is where the air or the air thing is. Hey, listen,
emergency
if you're in the exit row. So we were in the process of trying to get through TSA for the first 4 games, the first 5 weeks of the season. If you add the bye weekend, we were trying to get through TSA, and it's looked like okay, we got through TSA. We're on the plane. We boarded. Okay, the doors are closed because you can't go back. The bye week is done. The door's closed now. We're here.
Mm-hmm.
No more breaks. This puppy got to go in the air somehow, some way. Now, either we're going to make it out alive or we're not. So, buckle up. We're on the runway. We are approaching a takeoff. But the only way this plane, this Philadelphia Eagles, 757, the only way it gets off the runway is if they win this game. This game has so many implications for both these teams. Bengals, 3-4. Eagles, 4-2, right? Both of those teams have not necessarily lived up to the expectation per se, but both teams have an opportunity to change the narrative, to give themselves a little bit more breathing room, an extra sign of life. The Bengals, they got the Ravens in that division. The Steelers look like a good team. The Browns are the only team they're not worried about, but they need this win to stay in contention just for a wild card spot or just stay in contention for their division, right? And I don't think they're going to win their division, but so in that case, they need this game just to get to 500. And the Eagles, you're trying to keep pace with Washington. They seem like they're beginning to pick up steam now. Granted, their quarterback is dealing with a rib injury. We don't know if he plays today or not. I haven't checked their own injury report. But this is a big game for the Eagles. You want to get to 5-2, close the gap between you and Washington. And because Jaden Daniels may or may not play today, you hope for a Washington loss, and now you're in front of the division again. So this game has big implications for both teams. The Eagles are trying to prove they're still in it to win it.
Mm-hmm. We got to take care of business. The good thing about this game is it's not a division game. So yes, it's important, but in the big scheme of things, if something happens, and this is on both sides of it, if something happens, we can still recover. We got time to recover because we only got 2 losses. Cincinnati's situation is a little bit different, but you never know what's going to happen in the last half of the season because that's where we are. After this week, we're in the back half of the season now. So we've gone through our little turbulence. We figured out who some players are. We got some nice surprises, and we have to continue on that path because now I'm seeing our coaches. Now they're looking at when I saw Van Sumer at fullback, just as an example. Okay, now I see coaches understanding their personnel. Use what you got.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite trait for a coach, by the way, Marcus. I love a coach that understands his personnel, that knows his personnel.
Know your personnel. Now we got Bryce Huff on all 4s coming off the edge. That's paying dividends. Nolan Smith starting to pay dividends. Josh Sweat starting to wake up a little bit. So everybody seems to be getting comfortable in their roles. My guy, Nakobe Dean, had his best 2 games as a pro these last 2 weeks. Now, again, pump the brakes a little bit. It's the Browns and it's the Giants. But what do we always say? Beat the teams you're supposed to beat. And last week, now, the Browns, we win that game, but we was mad because how we going to have to struggle against the Browns? Then we play the Giants and just trash them. Just drag them through the Meadowlands.
And there are people who believe the Giants are a bit better than the Browns right now.
Correct. So now we done went from how do we struggle with the Browns to that's how you beat a team that you're supposed to beat. We dominated the Giants, right? Now we got to show that we can beat a good team.
A good quarterback. I mean, you beat Jordan Love. You beat Jordan Love, right?
We beat Jordan Love. I don't like to use woulda, coulda, shoulda, but we should have beaten the Falcons, right? So, but we slipped up. We gave it to them. But now here's another opportunity. My thing is, do we really want to go toe-to-toe throwing the ball with Joey Burrow? No. Let's run the ball, keep him off the field, use up the clock. Unless we're in a situation where Saquon is doing Saquon things and popping off 50 and 60-yard touchdowns. I can live with that. Because our defense right now is playing better. Cincinnati's offensive line isn't. Joey Burrow back there running for his life. T. Higgins is probably not playing today. And if he is playing, he got a quad injury. Right. So is he going to be 100%? So that's another bonus for our secondary. And our young secondary is playing well. And every week they're getting better. And I don't see why this is going to be any different.
I'm glad you went there. Let's stay on the defensive side for the Philadelphia Eagles and how they handle a guy like Joe Burrow, right? Now, granted, Joe Burrow hasn't had the greatest experience with offensive lines, but I want to bring up a couple advanced metrics. I want to bring a couple of them up on the show so you can get a feel for where I'm trying to take this, because although Joe Burrow has been running for his life, he's been finding ways to get the ball out of his hands. Let me show you this real quick. This is a very, very interesting stat here by Next Gen Stats, right? And they go hand in hand. Check this out. It says Joe Burrow has attempted a quick pass, which qualifies as being under 2.5 seconds. Joe Burrow has attempted a quick pass on 53.5% of his attempts this season, the third highest rate in the NFL. Burrow has completed 94 of his 121 quick attempts for 873 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So when it comes to getting that ball out of his hands, diagnosing what's in front of him, Joe Burrow is that guy. He knows how to do that. He's been conditioned to this point to get that ball out of his hands as quickly as he possibly can, because he hasn't had an offensive line pretty much his entire time in Cincinnati, right? But then when you see that stat, you say to yourself, okay, his offensive line sucks, so they're doing things schematically and game plan-wise to get the ball out of his hands, right? But then you say, okay, hold on, wait, time's out. What's this stat? Burrow has been pressured on just 26.5% of his dropbacks this season, the second lowest in the NFL and the lowest of his career. Burrow has completed 133 of his 180 passes from a clean pocket in 2024. That's nearly 74% of the time. So I asked myself, how much is he running for his life really? Right?
Yeah, good point.
Is it strictly him getting the ball out of his hands before things get too wonky? But this stat is too drastic. It's too far the other way for it to just be him getting the ball out of his hands quick. That offensive line, for whatever reason, say what you want about him, they've been protecting him better than he's ever been protected in his career. That's what the metrics are saying. Right. Now, maybe the eye test may tell somebody, maybe an eye test may say, no, this offensive line sucks. But his anticipation, his instincts, his ability to get the ball out of his hands, coupled with whatever that offensive line is doing right now this season, has him as having one of the quickest triggers in the NFL, and him having one of the best pockets, one of the best protections in the NFL. What do you say to
that? Look at what happened to us against Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield did the same exact thing, except Joey Burrow's been doing it all year. There's a reason why teams are doing this, and there's a reason why quarterbacks are having success with this. They're not running 10-yard pass patterns. They quick slanting, quick outs, mid-range patterns, and they letting their playmakers do what they do. Period. It's not complicated. Tampa Bay tore us a new one. The Baker Mayfield was getting the ball out of his hands in probably 2.2 seconds, almost every daggone play. And we playing 5 yards off the ball and didn't want to come up and press anybody or put hands on them receivers. And they ate us up. And I don't understand why Vic Fangio didn't want to adjust to that a little bit quicker, and they ended up costing us. Now, this seems to be a formula. And what do you think? Cincinnati looked at that tape. And they're probably looking at themselves like, this is what we do. And not for nothing, the only bad game I think the Bengals have had is against the Patriots. And that was in week 1. They lost to the Patriots 16-10. And the Patriots are not a good team right now. But they lose to the Chiefs 25-26. They lose to the Commanders 38-33. They lose to they beat the Panthers, right? They lose to the Ravens 41-38, right? And then they beat the Giants. Everybody's beating the Giants. They beat the Browns, and then they got us.
They could easily be 6-1.
Absolutely. Look at the teams they lost to. The Chiefs. Some people would say the Chiefs got lucky. That was a 1-point win. The Commanders was a 5-point win. You know what I mean? So the Ravens, Joe Burrow almost outscored Lamar Jackson with King Henry, 38-41.
Went to overtime.
Yes. So don't act like they can't put points on the board. Don't act like don't let the record fool you. Cincinnati is a good team. So I'll jump right to it now. The keys to our game this week is what is our secondary going to do against the receivers, and if our defensive line can get pressure. Because Joey Burrow can get rid of the ball, and they don't call him Joe Cool for nothing. He can deliver that ball with accuracy and on time and on target. So we gotta be on our P's and Q's. Nakobe Dean, and I don't know. Have you heard anything about Zach Bond?
He's playing.
He's playing.
We might even get a little. I'm glad you brought that up. As a matter of fact,
we might even get a little taste of Trot Jr. today.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Linebackers are going to have to be on point.
So these are those who out and who's are obviously on IR and things of that nature. So Mekhi Becton out with a concussion. We anticipated that. The league has gotten way more stricter with the concussions. Typically, a player when he has a concussion, you're not going to see him next week. That's just what it's been.
Yeah, but they still goofy about that. How you say that they strong with concussions? Did you see what happened to Josh Allen the other week?
No, I missed that one. What happened?
Oh, he busted his head something awful on the turf. They didn't take him off the field. They didn't get him checked out. Nothing. And if that had been anybody else, they probably would have pulled him off the field for a minute.
That's a good point. The league
go back and find that play and watch it.
They've been very.
That was a concussion.
That's a good point. That's a good point. The league has been very inconsistent with how they handle him. I feel like the league is very reactionary to what media does. So
Absolutely.
if the media overreacts to a certain situation, the league is going to make it a priority for whatever that means. So yeah, no Mekhi Becton, no Dallas Goedert. Obviously, Milata's on IR. No Byron Young. We haven't seen him quite yet, but that rotation is looking pretty solid nonetheless. So yeah, that's where we are with the injury report. Staying on the defensive side of the ball, though, right? T. Higgins, quad injury. He popped up on the injury report Friday. Late. So I highly doubt he plays today. I really thought he was, but I highly doubt he plays today. So now we look at Jamarr Chase, the lone ranger out there on the field. Do you anticipate a similar game plan defensively as they did with the Giants? Bracket Chase as they did Neighbors and force everybody else to beat him?
I would think so. That, to me, that would be the most logical answer. And again, I would say keep doing what you've been doing. Keep sending Nakobe. Keep bring up Cooper and send them.
They've been playing closer to the line of scrimmage too, like the corners, right?
Right.
Quinyon and Slay. There are moments where Slay may be closer to the line and Quinyon is a little off. There may be moments where it's the opposite. Quinyon is closer and Slay is a little off. Overall, these past couple games rather, Fangio has gotten there's been an uptick in his aggression. There's been an uptick in his creativity and how he's using the personnel. And if I can give you another pretty cool stat here, when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, right? And in particular, that pass rush. Let me make sure I got this right here in front of me. Make sure I got this all set up here. When the Eagles faced off against the Giants, did you know all eight of their sacks came on a 4-man pass rush?
Mm-hmm.
All 8 of them.
They just gave different looks.
Exact. Bingo. You saw people talking about, they blitzed Nakobe, they blitzed this person. It's like, slow down. They didn't technically blitz this team. Now you may see Nakobe flying downhill, slicing through, but by definition, it's not a blitz. Yeah. What he just continued to do, Vic Fangio, that is, he just continued to mix up, like you said, the looks, mix up where the pressure is going to come from, right? Where the 4-man is going to come from. That was their best pass rush performance, not just by the sack number, but just by how many people they sent and how they were able to get home. Now, granted, the Giants had injuries on the O-line. No Andrew Thomas. Obviously, Evan Neal's out for the year. He didn't even play this season, I don't think. So you obviously have to weigh it however you decide to do that. I'll leave that to everyone else's discretion. But pressure is going to be a huge deal in this game when it comes to Joe Burrow, knowing he gets the ball out of his hands, forcing him to keep everything underneath. This has to be a game where the Eagles I think this game is going to be won and lost solely depending on what that Eagles defense does.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, and you got to remember, Cincinnati been watching tape too.
Yeah.
So they have probably all week watched those 4-man rushes, and most importantly, they are watching if the linebacker's coming up or when Nakobe Dean was blitzing or when Cooper DeJean came, who dropped out. Because depending on who dropped out, that's going to be your hot read. Because if they're keeping it a 4-man rush, the linebacker comes, Cooper DeJean comes, somebody's dropping out, which is why it's still a 4-man rush. Mm-hmm. And if it's a defensive end, they are trying to figure out a way to take advantage of that mismatch. And again, do you want to time how fast that Nakobe Dean can get to the quarterback? Because one of Nakobe, again, I'll go back to why I like Nakobe Dean, because he's a hustle player. Nakobe Dean got cut. The running back did a phenomenal job cutting him at the line of scrimmage. Nakobe Dean got up and still made the sack. He didn't give up on the play. But my point in that is somebody had to drop off on the defensive line. And if Cincinnati can recognize when Nakobe is coming, when Cooper DeJean is coming, whoever's going to come, if they can figure out who's going to drop off and take advantage of that matchup, that could be a problem. Very, very similar to the 2 plays where, we missed Saquon Barkley running the wide out of the backfield. But those two situations where he got matched up on a linebacker looking inside, we just didn't see him. So if you can get those matchups, it's a risk. And if we don't get home, Joey Burrow is the type of quarterback that can burn you. So we got to make sure it all looks good when we get home. But if we don't get to him, or at the very least, don't force him off of his spot. If he can stand in the pocket and just deliver the ball, because Joey Burrow is that good, he can pick you apart. If we don't get him off of his spots and get in his passing lanes, that might be bad for business.
Yeah, I agree. This is definitely going to have to be a joint effort between that pass rush and those defensive backs. I mean, look, the defensive backs have been playing, like you said, very well up to this point. They've been very solid, given the youth on the defense, given the youth on the team. Quinyon Mitchell, he's in for a test today with Jamarr Chase. You can make an argument, probably the most talented receiver he's going to play up to this point, or he's played up to this point. One person may say Mike Evans, whatever it may be, but Jamarr Chase, you can make an argument just based off of where he is in his career, how primed and ready he is. That's going to be a tough matchup for Quinyon Mitchell, but Vic Fangio's scheme, he doesn't have his guys follow. Right. So whenever he has to deal with him, he's going to have to deal with him. Cooper DeJean, another young guy. This defense as a whole has improved dramatically with the addition of Cooper DeJean to that defensive lineup. I mean, it's almost night and day how they move, how they play, how they react. Give me your take on how Cooper DeJean has elevated this defense to this point, and what kind of impact, what kind of versatility or creativity do you anticipate Vic Fangio getting done with Cooper DeJean in this game?
I think Cooper DeJean, I think people forget, maybe they don't, but people forget how much of an athlete Cooper DeJean is. So he's got to be, I guess, arguably one of the fastest guys back there. We don't associate that with him, but he is super athletic. He can jump out the gym. He's got, what's his 40 time? Was he 4.4?
That's a good question.
Like he's plenty. Anytime you in the mid 4.4s and lower, that to me, what that means is as a defensive back, you got makeup speed. So you can look at, you can let a receiver get a step on you and bait quarterback and get back to the ball. That's what made DeJean so good. DeJean had ridiculous speed. Darrell Green had ridiculous speed. Palomalu had ridiculous speed.
DeJean ran a 4.42.
Okay, so when you sub 4.45, 4.42, great example. That means you're very close in the 4.3s. That's close enough in my book. So I'm saying that to say that means that Cooper DeJean's got recovery speed. If you get a step on him, once the ball's in the air, now both players are adjusting to the ball. It ain't about a receiver running away from a DB. It's all about, can you find the ball and can you get to the ball? Because every quarterback is not throwing the ball 5 yards past the receiver. So it all depends on where the ball is coming down. So you got a chance to make up a little ground, and then everything, the hand tussling and all of that kind of stuff comes back into it. So shout out to Tiffany Wells. That's my cousin. I love you, Tiff. And I saw my twin sister in here somewhere earlier. But I got my people from Cincinnati chiming in.
Yeah, how are y'all handling it? How are you balancing this, man? If y'all don't know, our guy, Coach Marcus, born and raised in Cincinnati, man, Ohio boy.
Yes, sir.
Made his way to the East Coast, the better coast that is. And
Skyline and cheesesteaks for everybody.
How are you and your folks balancing this, my man?
I listen, man. I tell everybody, man, I bleed green, but I was born in the jungle, so I gotta represent. So I will go fly Eagles fly, immediately followed by a Who Dey. So
you don't lose today, basically. You don't lose today.
I don't no. If the Eagles lose, don't get it twisted. I'm gonna be feeling some kind of way for the day. I don't like when the Eagles lose. I'll be slamming and fussing and cussing with the best of them. But I still got respect and love for my Bengals, man. I grew up with Ickey Woods and James Brooks, Anthony Munoz, David Fulcher, Chris Collinsworth, all of them dudes, man. Tim Crumry, all of them great Cincinnati Bengals that took us to 2 Super Bowls. And if it wasn't for that damn Joe Montana, we would have 2 rings, man. And I always tell people, man, Joe Montana broke my heart in Super Bowl 23. That last minute drive, that end of the game drive that they wanted, man. And I was like, oh, one play away from greatness, man. So I still follow my Bengals, man. I'm still a couple years ago when the Bengals was in the AFC Championship. I didn't know what I was going to do if it had been the Eagles and the Bengals in the Super Bowl. I'd have been a wreck. I'd have been an absolute wreck.
I'll tell you this though: if we did play the Bengals in that Super Bowl, we win that game. I believe that one. I do believe that.
I agree.
You know, sometimes lightning just strikes, saying if you're in the way, you're in the way.
Yes,
Shout out to my man Jay62 Moon with the $1.99 super chat. Thank you, Jay.
Yes,
I really appreciate you, man. Jay's always in the building showing mad love. Thank you, Jay, with the $1.99 donation. He says, if we win today, big name trade incoming. Interesting. Before we get into the offense side of the ball, let me pick your brain about that real quick. You know, there's been various rumors about the Philadelphia Eagles making various trades leading up to the trade deadline. I'm not going to load the deck on you. I'm just going to straight up ask you, what moves, based off everything you've seen by the Philadelphia Eagles, what moves do you think they need to make personnel-wise? Do you anticipate them making a move? If so, what move will that be? Or is there anybody you got your eye on?
No. The only move that I would see them making would be, to me, that made shout out S Blunt for that, man. I appreciate you, bro.
That's the OG.
Yeah. He was on my stream the other day.
That's my guy, man. That's a bunch of mad love, man. That's my guy.
I went live and he jumped on the other day. So shout out to S Blunt with the support, bro. We appreciate you. The only move that I was seeing was when they were talking about maybe upgrading their edge rusher. That was it. Your boy from the Raiders, he let it be known, I don't want to go nowhere. So they probably not gonna trade him.
Do that ever matter?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, yeah. The Raiders need all the good grace they can muster right now.
Yeah, you can't trade Devontae Adams and Max Crosby in the same season.
Correct.
That'd be hard to keep. I know you're in Vegas and people just want to go there just to go to the game just to be in that arena, but you'll have a hard time selling your fan base on that.
And don't get it twisted though. You just shouldn't. But Max Crosby, if there was any chance that Max Crosby can come to Philly, I'm like, yeah, you do that deal.
What you giving up?
Well,
let me not say that. What do you think he's worth?
That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one.
It is.
And let me be honest with you, man. This is what I usually don't get that deep into it. Because I'm of the ilk that I say, Howie, you have proven yourself time and time again through the years. This is what you do best. So I'm gonna trust you on that one. I'm gonna let you cook. Whatever we give up, tell me a time where Howie hasn't recouped it.
That's why I never worry about draft picks. And people say,
never.
You can't give up that. Howie has found so many ways to recoup draft picks. I don't even monitor our draft picks because I know he's going to make sure we have enough to get the job done. And just for the context, Max Crosby, 6'5", 255, 27 years old, very much in his prime. very much in his prime.
So
he's probably demanding a first round pick easily.
I can see that. So if with that type of production that we would get, I would say do that deal.
Yeah, he already has 6.5 sacks on the season, and he's coming off of back-to-back double-digit sack seasons. I mean, he is literally in his prime.
The flip side of that is, and it always makes me mad when I think about this, is like if you're gonna go through all of that, we should have just kept Hassan.
Agreed, 100%. Agreed.
So we jumping through all of these hoops, and we had somebody at home. You know, NFL teams, keep your homeboys at home.
You said that early. You said that early, man. Shout out to my man Jay again for the super chat, bro. We appreciate you for adding that element to the show, brother. And S Blunt donating, man, $5. Appreciate you, big dog. He says, do we think the Bengals will stack the box to force Hurts to beat them? Also, will the Eagles remain patient in the run game if they go down early? Let's transition, right? Let's get to the offense side of the ball. We covered the defense. We got into that. Last thing about the defense, real quick. I'm sorry, S Blunt. We'll get to your super chat. Last thing about the defense. I know we talked about Cooper DeJean. We talked about Quinyon Mitchell and guys like that. Who do you think will be the high impact player this week, right? In terms of usage, of how they affect the game, right? Who do you think has to be that player this week or will be that player this week? On defense.
Two.
On defense.
Two. It's got to be. I'm going to say Quinyon Mitchell, but really what I mean is whoever's going to be covering
Chase primarily.
Chase, yes. So I'm going to assume it'll be Quinyon, but I don't know. So let's say it's got to be Vic Fangio, because you got to figure out whoever is going to guard Chase and make everybody else beat you.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean has had the best 2 games as a pro these last 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Continue on that path, get him involved in the blitz package, and let him get Joey Burrow off his spot and make him run. Because don't forget, Joey Burrow can run the ball. He can run the ball. He is mobile. He can get out of the pocket, and he can burn you just like Jalen can. You just don't expect it because he's such a good passer. But he can embarrass you a little bit.
Yeah, he can get you for a nice 10 to 15 yards if he ain't looking.
Shout out to Letitia James. That's my cousin Tiny. Love you, cuz.
For sure. Shout out to fam. Appreciate you.
So Nakobe Dean and whoever, I'm gonna say give it to Quinyon, but whoever's covering Chase.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right, S Blunt, let's get to your super chat, brother. Thank you again for your donation, man. He says, do we think the Bengals will stack the box to force Hurts to beat them? Also, will the Eagles remain patient in the run game if they go down early? So let's unpack that, right? Let's stay on the offensive side. And Dominique, we're going to get to your super chat as well. We really do appreciate you. She says, I'm feeling good about our boys today. I think we make a statement. I appreciate y'all doing these pregame shows. Thank you, Dominique, with the $4.99 donation. It means a lot to us, and we really, really, really appreciate you. We enjoy these conversations, and we definitely enjoy kicking it with y'all every game day morning. So make sure you guys just keep locking in every week, man. The show is only going to get better. So we appreciate y'all. But yeah, man, S Blunt brings up some pretty interesting questions, right? Let's start with the first one. Do we think the Bengals will stack the box to force Hurts to beat them? Let's start there. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, me and Blunt talked about that the other day. I think they will. They'd be stupid not to, because they've been watching tape. They know what Saquon Barkley is going to do. But teams have been doing that, and Saquon has still done what Saquon does. I think the key for us is, and I get an opportunity to jump on my little rant a little bit, if we can run the ball out of pistol and out of ace a little bit more, when Jalen puts that arm out and makes those linebackers flow, the play action could be pretty damn good this week because of bringing everybody in the box, right? Because you get the left and right flow for the linebackers, and because everybody's been watching what Saquon has been doing for the last 3 weeks, it's going to cause those linebackers to come up. So 1 step on the field is 3 yards worth of separation. So we can make those linebackers take 1 step up. That middle in that 5 to 12 yard range is going to open up. Now, are we going to run the pass patterns to get through there? Are we going to run the mesh concepts and all that other kind of stuff that everybody been talking about? I don't know. Now it falls on Kellen Moore's, like, you've been doing this long enough to understand what somebody's going to do. We got to be able to win that chess match. That's what it's going to come down to. So we have opportunities on both sides of that fence. If logically you got 8 men in the box, you're going to challenge. We're going to stop Saquon. Jalen, you beat us in the air. Okay. Get the ball to AJ. Get the ball to Devontae. And for God's sakes, throw the ball across the middle, get the ball to AJ on the slant, and let him get his yak yards. He does it every time he touches the ball.
Every time.
So, and we go back to what's my favorite phrase? Don't make it complicated.
Keep it simple, stupid.
They haven't stopped it yet. That was the first time against the Giants that I saw the Eagles run it till they stopped it, and they couldn't stop it. They ran that play. Saquon got 55 yards across the left, around the left side.
Yeah, that outside zone. He was in the shotgun. Yeah.
Kenny Gainwell comes in. They ran the
exact same play. Back
Kenny
to back.
Gainwell gets 13 yards.
13 yards, something like that. Yeah.
So run it till they stop it, and please, not so much out of gun.
Yes, I agree.
So much
they were so potent. That was one of the stories of the week. I don't really watch too much ESPN, but Mina Kimes said something very interesting to me.
Yes.
She highlighted just how versatile and how unique the variations in their alignments and how they were running in that Giants game. I mean, we saw alignments that we haven't seen in years by the Philadelphia Eagles. So you do bring up a good point, right? I want to read this stat off to you, though, and I think it coincides with what as Blunt brought up in the first part of his question. It says here, Saquon Barkley has generated the most rushing yards over expected and the second most rushing yards against light boxes this season. Barkley has faced a light box on 46.3% of his rushes this season, the second highest rate in his career. Now, here's what's interesting about this, right? If we expect them to stack the box and we expect them to force Hurts to beat them, that means that they trust, because no matter how you feel about Jalen Hurts personally, take your personal feelings out of it. Take your own personal assessment. Take your own Monday morning quarterback and mindset out of it. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley in the pass game. You can try to stack the box as much as you want. You can try. The Bengals are basically saying, if they do that, we trust our DBs to hold up long enough.
Yes.
And my retort to that is, no, they won't. They won't. Because as much, think about how productive Saquon's been. And like this stat says, he's the second highest light box rate in his career, 46.3%. That's pretty high, knowing he's going to get the ball. So that tells me teams, they can't, as much as they want to stack the box, they know they can't. Jalen Hurts been the quarterback all season. Yet this light box number is still this high. So this tells me teams, as much as they want to stack the box on Saquon, they know they can in their heart. Because Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, if you leave one of them open, you're going to get gashed. So Cincinnati's playing a dangerous game here. They can stack the box. They can. And I'm not saying Jalen Hurts has been stellar, but you're picking your poison with the Philadelphia Eagles. And that 46.3% just tells me teams are struggling to pick their poison. What's your thoughts on that?
Here's where a little bit of history comes into play. Where was Saquon Barkley for the last 7 years, 6 years, or whatever it was? Since he's been in the league, where was he at? He was in New York,
running against
Daniel Jones. He had what 1 year with Eli, and the rest he's been with Daniel Jones or whatever it worked out to be. But the point being, when you went in to play the Giants, or the Giants were coming to town, the main goal was to stop Saquon because they had nothing else. Daniel Jones wasn't going to beat you. And even when we played the Giants the last few years, we would beat the Giants, and Saquon, we have him bottled up, and all of a sudden, bam, 60-yard play. He'd have them smash plays. And he was playing behind an offensive line that was nowhere near as good as what we got. So he is used to seeing that. And we got a ton of tape of him handling that situation. So that is the part I don't worry about. Now I'm going back and I'm trying to, on my other screen here, I'm trying to look at the other games. Do you consider Green Bay a better team than Cincinnati?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Jalen went 20 for 34 and 278 with 2 touchdowns. Now, if he can give you that same type of performance, minus the 2 picks he threw, minus that, what are we going to get? Because don't get it twisted. Jalen can beat you over the top. We're just saying this now because he had a bad first 4 games with the turnovers. He's not even leading the league in turnovers.
He's not. He was at one point, but he's not anymore. Right. He's stabilized.
You know what Philadelphia has? It's like you were born and raised in Philly, right?
Yep, my whole life, 28 years, man.
Before you moved out of Philadelphia, you always got a picture of you and your friends or somebody, right? You haven't been home in a while, and when you come back, everybody still thinks you look like you did in that picture from years ago. You got a freeze frame, and that's what you fixate on, and you don't understand or appreciate the growth that has happened since that moment. And that's what we got with Jalen. Everybody's going to go through their ups and downs. Joey Burrow's thrown picks. Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers, do we even need to go there? So everybody gets a turn, but for some reason in Philadelphia, everybody tends to lose their shit when Jalen has a bad game. And it's like, this is the ups and downs. These are the lumps you got to take as a starting quarterback, especially if you call yourself wanting to be a premier quarterback. Look at the vitriol they gave Lamar Jackson last year. And it wasn't even his fault. In the championship game, they was dropping balls, but all of a sudden, Lamar can't get it done. I was like, he did what he was supposed to do. In Detroit, Jared Goff did what he was supposed to do. It was everybody else that was dropping the ball. But my point in saying that is everybody gets a turn. Jalen had his turn, lucky for us, early. Hopefully, he's got all of that stuff out of his system now.
Right. And I've spoken about that. You know, in the macro, I've said every quarterback, just using the 2023 season as an example, right? Every quarterback has that type of season on their resume. Some of them, if you play in the league long enough, you're going to have about 2 or 3 of them, maybe 4, depending on how long you're in the league. It's about how you respond. It's about, you know, how, because at the end of the day, right, when someone gets so deep into their career, like, for example, Tom Brady, this is a very, very extravagant example, but Tom Brady, you think people going back nitpicking year 4 of a Tom Brady season? They looking at the bigger picture of what he's been able to do, what he's been able to endure. So on a week-to-week basis, yeah, I can definitely see the Eagles fans being emotional, frustrated with however they feel about Jalen Hurts, right? I'm a Jalen Hurts guy. I believe Jalen Hurts is still growing and developing as a quarterback. I still believe we haven't seen the best Jalen Hurts. I know a lot of people believe that 2022 season was the best they're probably ever going to see. I feel like we still haven't seen the best. And I think what we're seeing now is we're seeing a quarterback who's trying to rehabilitate his turnover issues these past 2 weeks. Has he blown the doors off in the passing game? No, but what he's been doing, I think he's been focusing on the game that's in front of him, staying in the micro and saying, you know what? Let's not overthink this game. Let's win the game. Let's be clean. Let's be efficient. Let's make the passes that they give me. If it's not there, take the sack or get rid of it. I see a much more patient quarterback these past couple of weeks. I see a much more looser quarterback these past couple of weeks. Somebody who's just, again, he's not throwing crazy numbers, right? But he's been rehabilitating his turnover issues. People want, you know what I noticed? People want a lot of these issues the Eagles are facing. A lot of them want the Eagles to fix all these issues in a week. Correct. And my thing is, when you think about the issues that they have experienced over the past several weeks and how they have gone through their own form of growing pains, new coaching staff, whatever it may be, right? You knew this team was going to be a work in progress in various aspects. But for some reason, people want this whole, like, this sweeping just fix on everything. And my thing is, the NFL season, Super Bowl teams are built brick by brick, not just throughout the offseason, but also throughout the regular season, through the wins, through the losses, through the trials, through the tribulations, through the experiences. And do I still think this team can go deep in the playoffs? Absolutely. I still think they're proving to me that they are Super Bowl caliber today. My expectations haven't changed, but based off what I've seen so far, I wouldn't say that's a Super Bowl team today. That's not to say they can't be there come week 13, come week 14, because again, whatever team that you saw won the Super Bowl, I'll take it a step further. Any teams that you saw in the Super Bowl, they were not those teams in week 1. Correct. They were not those teams in week 5, week 6, or even week 10. They had to grind and stack those days brick by brick by brick to get to that moment, to prepare for that moment. So,
and ultimately, it might not even matter. Because the biggest, and I say this all the time, the biggest equalizer in the NFL is injuries, period. Every team is one play away from glory or ruin.
Yep. And Marcus, real quick. It's real funny, real quick. I got to address something real quick. My man, Tan Tebow, he says Tone is over the top with making excuses for Jalen, for sure. Tone sounds like the media telling me Kamala is worth being president. Well, I'm not going to get into politics. You vote for whoever you vote for, my man. But I think you kind of showed your hand. Nonetheless, coming from the man who has Jalen Hurts as his profile picture, do people think when they speak? Now, you may be trolling. Sure, why not? Let's have some fun. But make it make sense, brother. If you are going to troll, if you're going to be the smart ass you are, you gotta cover all bases, brother. If Jalen gonna be your avatar, hey, put some clown makeup on him. Do something to make me believe you. You know what I'm saying? Do something to make me believe you. Change your avatar. Do something. Do something different. Be a little bit more creative.
And you gonna have Tebow in your name? Come on, dog.
And you got to be a little bit more creative, brother.
But it's all
Now,
good.
if you feel like I'm a Jalen Hurts apologist, hey, brother. Hey, brother. What you
It is what it is.
Hey, brother. Hey. I'm sorry, I ride for mine, big dog. I ride for mine, big dog. So let's just say Tan Tebow, if it was you playing quarterback and you wasn't playing stellar, you was okay, but you wasn't playing stellar. Just know I'm rocking with you. I'm rocking with you. See, I come from a different cloth. You feel me? I'm a type of dude that I'm riding with you through thick and thin, no matter the weather. You feel what I'm saying? That's just me.
Don't bandwagon.
That's just me. I'm very tribal with mine. I'm very tribal with mine. So if you on my side of the fence, best believe we cutting this grass together. We getting it in. But if you're on the other side of the fence, Tan Tebow, hey, just know you're an op and we taking heads off. It's just that simple.
Your business. What up, Kev?
But let's get back to the conversation, man. I entertained Tan Tebow a little bit too long. It was just I was triggered. That's the word. That's the language that they're using now to express themselves. These new young people that got opinions now, right?
Tan Tebow,
I was triggered.
Do not get it twisted. I am a Jalen Hurts fan as well, and the tape don't lie. So when he playing bad, we'll keep it 100.
Exactly. That's how I know people be new to me sometimes.
Yeah.
Because
two things can be true, bro. You can love your player and criticize their game, man. Just because everybody ain't all and coming out and it's all negative. Because quiet as kept, you sound like sports talk radio and everybody else that don't like Jalen Hurts because you want the stereotypical quarterback that's 6 foot whatever and throwing the ball 800 yards and still not winning. So it is what it is.
Simple as that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but back to the point.
Yeah, back to the point, good brother.
Get him off the screen.
I really didn't mean to distract you like that. Sometimes you gotta give people what they ask for.
Let me tell you what my biggest fear for Jalen Hurts is.
Yeah, go ahead.
My biggest fear for Jalen Hurts is that he will not get a consistent coaching team with him. Every year or 2 years, he's gonna have a new offensive coordinator, and he'll never be in a system for longer than 2 years. So he's going to be constantly relearning and like that. And you can never, it's very difficult to get ahead when you like that. Y'all can talk all the stuff that you want about Josh Allen and how good he is. And he is. But number one, people forget that Buffalo wanted to run Josh Allen out of town his first 2 seasons. And he got a coach fired. Just like Aaron Rodgers, just like Kenny Pickett. So, but when you going through, and I say this all the time, people do not appreciate how hard it is to learn a new offense. And Jalen Hurts has had 8 of them. I believe it's 7 or 8. So when you get consistency, when you do look at somebody like Mahomes in Kansas City, when you've been learning the same stuff year after year after year after year after year, he has the answers to the test. Mm-hmm. And I said that the second year with Steichen because Jalen and Steichen meshed. They Steichen, for whatever reason, spoke his language. And he hasn't had another coach that can do that. And it shows. It shows. So that's my biggest fear for Jalen is that he's going to constantly be going through the turnstile of offensive coordinators because we all think that Nick Sirianni's not going to be here next year. So who they bringing in and what offense are they bringing? Are they going to elevate Kellen Moore? I don't know. Does Kellen Moore want to stay? So again, we might face that same issue again coming back next year, and we got a new offense. So that's my fear for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a reasonable assessment of the situation. That's one of my biggest fears too, right? Like imagine Mahomes if he landed in Chicago. Would he be the like a lot of people think he was just packaged and ready to go. Like, nah, he got developed. You know, he was in a situation where he was able to, it's funny, all the Mahomes traits that we love, we see bad quarterbacks with those same traits, but the difference is they don't make the play. Right? Like no look pass is not a good habit. You don't want that. That's not a good habit. That's not something you want to happen. Now, obviously, it can throw a defense off, but you got to be good to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's not something you want your quarterback doing. The way Mahomes plays, you don't coach players to play that way. He's a very unique animal. So imagine if he had all those traits in his body, but he's in Chicago. He probably lead the league in picks every single year. But nonetheless, though, he's in a situation where Andy Reid is able to bottle up that talent, nurture it, and he's taught him how to be more surgical since the deletion of Tyreek Hill. So, regardless, though, I'm not trying to compare Hurts to Mahomes. Mahomes is a freak of nature, an animal in a whole nother jungle. You feel what I'm saying? That's the king of his own castle. Hurts still trying to build his castle. Nonetheless, though, shout out to Ellen Smalls. Ellen Small with the 2 super chats. She donated $5. Just showed love, and then she donated another $5. She says, nice. Been an Eagles fan since Jaws was quarterback. I wonder if Hurts is being made a pocket quarterback. In 2022, he wouldn't hold the ball long. He would just take off.
Well,
people, that's a misconception. He was actually holding the ball in 2022 as well, but he was making something happen with it. That's the misconception.
I think last year would have been a better comparison, not 22, because me and Blunt talked about this the other night. And I didn't even realize this till recently. They changed the rules. Were you aware of this? That they changed the rules about illegal man downfield?
Like since last year?
Yeah.
I heard they've been cracking down on it more, but I didn't know they changed something.
They changed the rules. So basically, offensive linemen can't be 4 yards down the field when the quarterback throws the ball.
Wasn't it 5?
Whatever it was, 4 or 5 yards down the field, whatever it was. It's 5 sounds a little bit more even. So let's say it's 5, right? The point being that has a direct impact on how you can run the RPO, because the offensive lineman can't be downfield. What happens if you pull it and throw it? So that kind of puts you in the box. Like the RPO, if you're going to run the ball, the offensive line can't get down the field. You got to make a choice. So it takes the option out of the R and the P. So basically what they're saying was,
when did they change this again? When did they change this? Was it after
last year?
Was it after the Jalen Hurts season?
Yeah. So the RPO was not as effective.
You gotta be kidding me.
And I was like,
I never paid that no mind.
Yeah. It makes a difference, because look at how many times did we see Jason Kelce running around the corner, pulling center, leading him downfield. It makes a difference if every time you pull and you run, you got your offensive line, they 5 to 6 yards down the field, they throw a flag and you got to bring it back. That pretty much eliminates the effectiveness of an RPO, because everything you have to do on the line has to be done, and it's up to your running back or your quarterback to make something happen when they get to the second level. You don't have the offensive line to help you out anymore. So it makes a difference. And I think what we're seeing this year, and I've said this before, what we are seeing right now with Jalen Hurts is the exact same thing we saw with Donovan McNabb when he came back in year 3, and he came back bulked up and was throwing passes in the dirt because he had too much muscle mass. But the reason why he did that was because he wanted to become a pocket quarterback. And now you notice, I remember we talked that New Orleans Saints game and that Atlanta game. I remember criticizing Jalen Hurts. He's leaving the pocket too quick. If he can stay in the pocket for a half a second longer, you got some guys popping open later. And then what happened? He's staying in the pocket, strip sack, fumble. So now, if you notice, a couple of times in the New York game, he gets sacked. He goes down. He doesn't try to escape. He just goes down because he's got people coming on both sides. He might have a little window where he may have attempted to escape before, but now because of the fumbles, he's got 2 hands on the ball and he's going down. Live to play another day.
Yeah, and that goes back to my point about I think he's in the process of, again, I think he's going to be way better as the season goes, but I think he's trying to rehabilitate those turnover issues. And sometimes sometimes in doing that, it forces you to simplify your game. Because you're trying to get back to the fundamentals. You're trying to get back to playing the game the way it's supposed to be played before you start getting freaky and start getting real aggressive out there. So yeah, I'm with you.
And it takes away some of your big plays.
That's a good point. It's a very good point.
Because there's a couple times I'm like, brother, if you just slide to your left and take off, you got at least 10 to 15.
I agree.
He did that 2 years ago. He did it last year. But he is committed, to your point, he is committed to staying in the pocket and trying to read his progressions.
Right.
I think Jalen's biggest issue is he is not going through his progression quick enough. I think he's locking in on one person, then going to the next, where instead of scanning. That's just my guess.
Oh, so you think when he snaps, he drops back.
Yeah.
He looks, locks, wait for him to get open, or he's not getting open. Okay, next guy. He's not getting open. Okay, next guy. Instead of just
and he's just not going through it quick enough, because everybody was giving him crap when he missed Saquon Barkley on that. It would have been an easy touchdown and against New York. But people forgetting the fact that that's not his first read.
Right. People, and that's what I'm talking about, man. Like, depending on where your progressions start, that's where you're going to go. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not, maybe he should have made the pass, right? Say whatever you want, but if your progressions start all the way over here and this guy gets open instantly, you're not going to see him.
Right.
You're not going to see him.
And rarely, let me repeat this, rarely is a running back in the backfield running a wide. A wheel route is when the running back hits the line of scrimmage, goes flat, and then wheels around and goes deep.
Cuts up.
A wide is if you are already in the backfield and you just kind of swing it around for a pass, almost like a screen pass. That's what a wide is. Rarely is a wide route by a running back. No, rarely is that your first read.
Yes, that's
a screenplay.
Right. That's always your no one. Okay, just dump it. That's literally your dump off. That's your check down.
Correct.
So, yeah, I'm with you on that. I think Jalen Hurts is I think I agree with you, right? Do I think Jalen Hurts processes do I think Jalen Hurts processes at the speed that I want him to? No, I don't. I wouldn't lie about Jalen Hurts. Like, and that's the part that kind of, I guess, triggered me a little bit earlier, because I've always tried to be very fair-minded about Jalen Hurts. I think people be wanting you to disrespect somebody, call somebody trash. And it's like, no, I don't communicate that way. I'm a little bit more eloquent. I know how to express myself a little bit more fairly and reasonably. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to sit here and just say Jalen Hurts is trash, can't do this, can't do that. Nah, I want to talk about what he can do. I'm going to address what he can't. And we're going to be fair-minded, be reasonable, be respectful about it. So I tend to agree with you. I do think Jalen Hurts is still developing. You said something really interesting, right? He wants to stay in the pocket, right? You know, you hear people. You can't please everybody. You got people who say at some point Jalen got to stay in that pocket and just deliver. Okay, he's doing that. He's staying in the pocket. No, at some point, bro, you got to just take off. It's like, yo,
like, what do you want?
Do y'all want him to be a quarterback? Do y'all want him to? Do y'all want him to develop it to the guy? And look, through development, it's going to be bumpy. It's going to be uncomfortable. But do y'all want him to develop it to the guy y'all want him to be, as far as the pocket passer? Or do y'all want him to just play the way he's been playing his whole life and just being dual threat, moving around, having fun with it, whatever it is? Like, my thing is, you can't have it both ways, man. If you want somebody to improve in something, you can't try to avoid the growing pains. You can't. You know. So look, man. Thank you, Ellen Small, for your super chat. I really do appreciate you. Soul on Wax with the $5 super chat says, y'all just hit it on the head. All I want for Christmas is the same play caller 2 years in a row. Shout out to Soul on Wax, man. I appreciate you. Really do appreciate you. And I almost forgot, as Blunt had a second part to his question that we didn't really get into per se. Will the Eagles remain patient in the run game if they go down early?
Depends on how soon they go down.
Depends on how soon and what down is. Is that 3? Is that 7? Is that 10? Zip? Like, what is that really? But to your point, though, if they, just to give you a scenario, if they do go down by a touchdown early, I think they stay disciplined. I would like to hope so. I think so. Now, if they go down 21-3 in the first half, all bets are off. Like, you gonna see them.
So, and that's real. That's real. And based on the last couple of weeks of throwing the ball, I totally understand. I totally understand why people have reservations about Jalen. I have reservations about Jalen. I'm still a fan.
Yeah, I got mine.
But what I can do is, I'm like, listen, if he's done it once, he can do it again. And guess what? Even though we won 15-12 against New Orleans, he still went for 311 with no turn, with one pick. That was the one pick. I think that was the one where Smitty ran a bad route. where he should have came down flat in the end zone. I think Matthew intercepted it in the end zone. You know what I'm saying? So
my bad, Mark. I was read something so idiotic. My bad. I'm trying my hardest, bro. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stay focused. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if he did it once, he can do it again.
Yeah.
We just got to find the right. And this is where I put it on the coaching. If it's 3rd and 5, I don't want all the routes to be 10-yard routes.
Mm.
That's what I don't. Somebody's got to be coming across the middle. Keep running the mesh. Run the mesh concept until they learn how to stop it. Smitty and AJ, each of them should have at least 2 to 3 passes going across the middle because nobody's been able to stop it. We just stopped throwing it. So, but we'll see what they can do. And this is what I say to people, man. Listen, they are watching the tape. What is said and what goes on in those film sessions is worse than anything y'all can throw out on social media. Trust and believe when I tell you that. Because those are the conversations that are not going to be repeated. Because some people would be, because in those film sessions, that's when people get embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
And you run that stuff back, you can have 8 million plays where you get double pluses. Right. And then that one play you screw up, they're going to run that joker back 30 times and let you know what you did wrong. So people say that Jalen Hurts isn't doing this or that, or Sirianni or Kellen Moore isn't doing this and that. Y'all don't understand what goes on in film sessions. You just don't. Because they go over all of that stuff. Because I in my heart, I know, because I know how they prepare. I trust how Jalen prepares, because if he didn't, he wouldn't be at this level right now.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have a game plan. They know they're going to get 8 men in the box. What are you going to do about it? That's why we paid Kellen Moore all that money.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm leaving it up to him. Now, if I see something, and again, we got Jalen Hurts missing open receivers and stuff like that, then we can say, like, Jalen, bro, you better get it together, or you're going to get promoted to fan out of this city real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think Jalen will be fine. And I think my prediction is this week, we're going to have about 5 passes across the middle. That's my prediction.
Yeah. I do expect I do expect an improved passing game again as the season continues to progress. Because they started off in such a weird way with the turnovers and have been being disjointed. Like I said, I think they're just rehabilitating a lot of their issues, and they're trying to chip them down little by little by little. And I think they've been doing that. Just to ring off a few before we get out of here, and we can get into the keys to the game real quick and your final predictions. But let's just think about some of the issues we saw with this team over the past several weeks, right? Let's just take it one by one. One of the first issues we saw, Bryce Huff. You pay him whatever you pay him. And sometimes I try not to talk about money in the season, because at the end of the day, if you pay somebody the market rate is the market rate. It is what it is. That's not their fault. The market is the market. So I'm not here to get into what guys pay and get paid in the season. I try not to talk about that because it's irrelevant. But let's just go down their issues and how they've tried to rehabilitate those issues, right? Just so we can prove that this team is trending in the right direction, just so we can prove that this team is not a finished product, even though the season has started. Bryce Huff, non-factor for the first 4 weeks of the season. Non-factor. And I'm not talking about I mean completely non-factor, almost like you're playing 11 on 10. Non-factor. They had him in a 2-point stance those first 4 weeks. He earned his money in a 4-point stance.
Yes.
What does Vic Fangio do? All right, we got a 4-game sample size. We expected you to kind of take that next step and to do what we needed you to do in this defense. All right, we got to go back to how you got the money in the first place. Let's get you that 4-point stance. Let's move some things around, and we'll be able to maximize this guy. So boom, that's problem 1, remedy 1, problem 1, solution 1, right? Let's get to the turnover issues. Jalen Hurts turning the ball over like crazy in the first 4 games. Okay, what do? Okay, we're going to bring these pass attempts down. We're going to really double down on our Saquon Barkley usage, and we're going to hit timely, explosive plays over the top. Timely, explosive plays. And what has it done? Coming out of the bye week, Jalen Hurts, I believe, has accounted for 5 touchdowns, no turnovers. He's been efficient. I believe he's completing between 65 to 68% of his passes, if I'm not mistaken, after the bye week. You're seeing a much more efficient Jalen Hurts. Is it the most explosive right now? No, but he's becoming more efficient and trying to clean up his issues and rehabilitate the issue. Right. Problem 2, solution 2, right? Let's go back to those first 2 weeks when you were getting ran down in the run game, destroyed in the run game, destroyed. What does Vic Fangio do in week 3? All right, you know what? 5-man front. We need to reassert ourselves. Even if I don't want to be in 5-man fronts for the remainder of the season, we're going to reassert ourselves a little bit in this run defense. And you do what you did to the Saints defensively. And the Saints were the hottest team in football at the time. So people can try to nitpick that team all you want. They're injured, they're hurt, everybody's down. But at that time, they were the hottest team in football. Eagles neutralized them. Problem 3, solution 3. The Eagles, I believe, top half of the league in run defense. Top half of the league. I can live with that for right now, especially when your pass defense is top 10. So you're another problem. Receivers are getting off the line too easily. Not enough press, not enough man-to-man. DBs aren't able to get their hands and feet on guys. What they do? All right, Quinyon, we're going to let you play a little closer to the line. Hey, Slay, we're going to move you up a little bit, play a little closer to the line. Problem 4, solution 4. I got another problem for you. Avonte Maddox. He was a liability for those first 4 weeks. Couldn't tackle, kept getting lost in traffic whenever they moved him in motion. It was clear. Attack Avonte in motion. It was clear. You know what they do? Avonte, you're out. Cooper DeJean, you're in.
Get him off the field.
So, problem 5, solution 5. So through 8 weeks, through 7 weeks of football, we have seen a bevy of issues with this Philadelphia Eagles team that we've criticized on more than one occasion. And they have attempted and have been successful at checking a lot of those boxes in terms of remedying those issues. So we're seeing a coaching staff who's reading, reacting, adjusting through 7 weeks of football. I like that so far. I like seeing that, okay, we have a problem here. We're gonna get a large enough sample size to see if this is really a problem or a one-off. Okay, that's a problem. We're making a change. I appreciate that. And that's why I still remain, or I still will have faith in this team throughout this season, because I've seen them make the necessary changes to improve upon their issues. What do you say to that?
Here's the thing with that, because we saw it in 22, we saw it in 23. How I interpret that is you got coaches that they've been doing a certain thing to get them to that point, and they're going to stick to it.
Mm-hmm.
And they are the hardest people to convince that what they do isn't working. You look at 22 and 23. Why did Hassan Reddick do nothing his first 4 weeks in 22? And then the defensive coordinator even admitted, if I hadn't have been dropping him back in pass coverage, he could have led the league in sacks. You were trying to make a particular player fit your system instead of fitting his skills. Fast forward to with Bryce Huff. You trying to make Bryce Huff fit your system instead of fitting the system around his skills. Let him do what he does best.
Mm-hmm.
If what he does best is coming off of all fours, both hands in the dirt, and coming off that edge, if that's what it takes for him to get to the quarterback, let him do that. But for some reason, you got coaches that they don't cater to their talent. They want the talent to cater to their system, and it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. So you have this period where you're not getting the most out of the players, and then they finally, to your point, they let him do what got him there. You knew good and damn well what Bryce Huff was when you signed him. You saw what he did. Everybody talked about what he did. They even made the point to say he's only in on pass downs, but he's effective, he's good, and everything that came with that. So what do they do when they get him down here? We want him to do something that he's not good at doing. Whose fault is that? So it takes a minute for coaches to say, okay, I've been trying. Now, sometimes you get a player in that can do everything,
mm-hmm.
but most times you can't. So we are finally, to your point, getting back to the fact that Fangio was saying, okay, he can't do this. Let me just put him where he can be effective, and he's being effective.
A second and a half. A second and a
Exactly.
half since the change. That's not a coincidence. It's not happenstance.
That's not a coincidence. Nakobe Dean got drafted. He played the best when he was blitzing. Let's just try to get him to blitz more. And what happens? He has the 2 best games of his career so far. So we're finally getting to the point where we're letting the pieces on the board do what they do best. You can recover everything else. Now you got Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, and you got them young guns in the secondary to cover your back. So now you can take a couple more chances. Now you got a linebacker once again that you didn't expect nothing from. You didn't expect anything from Zach Bond. When we signed Zach Bond up, he'll be a pretty good special teams player. And I'm like, remember we talked about this. I said, I don't know what y'all been watching from Zach Bond, but every time Zach Bond got on the field in New Orleans, he took care of business. He made the most out of his limited opportunities. And he coming up here, he is playing for his check, his next check.
Mm-hmm.
So right back again, we got TJ Edwards again. But are we going to do the right thing this time? So finally, everybody is seeing what these players can do. And this is something that I try to tell everybody. If you watch football, stop listening to what you see on ESPN. They don't watch games.
They got
they don't watch games.
They got like 10 TVs up trying to watch everything, and they have producers feeding them information. You got to think about what the format is. They're trying they're trying to squeeze a bunch of content into an hour block, a 30-minute block, whatever it may be, right? There's no way you can properly critique a player in a 4-minute segment.
You can't
a 5-minute segment. There's no way you can do that in good faith.
They got a crew of people gathering information, shoving papers in front of their face, and then they read off of it.
Right.
So when all the people want to, I saw the dude where he was going over Jalen's, he missed the pass to Devontae and came back.
You talking about Chase Daniel?
Yeah. And then, they talking about the rub rat and, oh my God, Jalen's just not seeing it. I was like, first of all, you saying the same thing everybody else said on that same play, the same exact way. So that's not anything original. You just regurgitating what somebody else said. Mm-hmm. Secondly, they already talked about that he probably missed that pass because, yes, he missed the read. That's not his first read. So, but okay. But nothing about the next play when you go deep to AJ. So everybody's trying to spin their own narrative. They're taking bits and pieces of it. You got to watch film, man. Mm-hmm. You can't watch the broadcast channel. You got to watch film because there's so many people taking stuff out of context.
Right. A lot of these guys, a lot of these guys, they be having more than one job and get your coins, fella, for sure. But like, you got to take these national shows with a grain of salt, man. It's entertainment at the end of the day. It's really just entertainment. Every now and again, you get a good debate, a good conversation. Don't get me wrong. There are some good conversations that come from it. But everybody is not debating in good faith. Everybody's not stating their opinions in good faith. Just because someone puts film on behind them and move around real fast and get real animated doesn't mean that they're being as fair-minded as they want you to believe. Just because someone tells you, "Oh, I watched the film," you can still watch film with bias. You can. They're like, look, man, I'm not here to change the world, dog. I'm not. Shout out to my man Solo on Wax at the $5 super chat. He said you spoke about simulated pressure. We're going to get out of here pretty soon, Marcus. That's probably the longest show we probably had. Solo on Wax at the $5 super. Thank you, brother. I really do appreciate this. He said you spoke about simulated pressure recently. Is that a 5-man front considered a blitz if they all rush? Marcus, I'll leave this one for you.
It all depends on if they get you outnumbered. A blitz just means you got more
rushers
than they got blockers. So it all depends on what the offense does and if they can pick it up. You could have a twist or a linebacker lining up outside and he twists all the way and comes through the AB gap where the center would be. Is that a blitz? Not if they pick it up. So as long as you got enough blockers to cover everybody coming in. And it all depends on what success you're going. Because again, a blitz is a risk. Because if you blitzing somebody, that means there's a point, a place on the field that is open. Because that person that should be covering that area is in the backfield, or at least trying to be. So it's a risk both ways. That's why the blitz pickup is so important. That's why you got to have hot routes and all of that kind of stuff. So it's a give and take. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. There's a lot of factors. That is a layered question.
For sure. Shout out to Solo and Wax, man. We appreciate you. Hey, quick sidebar before we get to the keys of the game and the final predictions. And that's going to be the exact thing we transition to after this. Did you, my man S Bunch, and thank you again, Solo and Wax. Did you know the Fever fired their head coach?
That must have just happened.
It just happened within the past 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Oh man, I got about 8 videos. I gotta write about that. Okay, so Christy Sides is out, and that means that most likely they're gonna sign Stephanie White from Connecticut.
Hold on. I know you're way more dialed in the WNBA than I am, and it was a hell of a finals, by the way. Very entertaining. I enjoyed it. Shout out to the Liberty, man. One of my favorite teams.
That's a whole nother conversation, bro.
I know. Yeah, I know.
What's your question?
Yeah. Andrew Reese, Caitlin Clark, 2 of the most polarizing girls to be drafted probably in the last 15 years.
Right.
They both go to organizations that were up and coming. Now, obviously, the Sky's coming off of a championship, in 2020 or 2021, something like that?
I think.
Something like that. But nonetheless, they were a rebuilding team still. 2 teams in rebuilding mode, 2 teams who had amazing years under these coaches, 2 players who liked their coaches, as a matter of fact. You know, like, who were able to really get the most out of these players when they had them. Angel Reese's coach gets fired. Yes. Why am I forgetting the assistant name?
Teresa Weatherspoon.
Teresa Weatherspoon, legendary New York Liberty player,
yes.
Basketball Hall of Famer. She gets fired.
Correct.
And now
Christy
Sides gets fired.
Yes.
Help me understand what's going on here real quick. Real quick. I know this is an Eagles show, but I'm really curious about that because, again, that doesn't look like coincidence to me.
Big Chris is mad. Like, really? WNBA, really?
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Let me say this real quick.
I have to pick his brain about this real quick. I'm confused.
So think about it like this. Christy Sides was just an okay coach. And it was very clear several times during the season that she got outmatched as a coach. Christy Sides, in my opinion, is basically in the same situation like Nick Sirianni.
Oh, wow.
He's a coach. He's had success. He made it to the playoffs, but some of the things he's doing, that's how Christy Sides was. Your lineups, your substitutions. She got outcoached several times during the season. So while, yes, she made the playoffs, if Caitlin Clark is not there, she doesn't make the playoffs.
Okay.
Period.
All right.
Okay, so that was not unexpected. Teresa Weatherspoon, in my opinion,
that shocked me.
That shocked me too. But I think her mistake is that she put too many eggs with Angel Reese, and it was pissing off other people because you had one good player that demanded a trade and got up out of there, and another player that wanted to be traded that they couldn't. They had a lot of stuff going on in Chicago, and everybody just wants to say just because she was friends, her and Angel had a good relationship. It just didn't translate because while Angel Reese was getting all them double-doubles, they was getting drugged.
Okay.
So I don't think she should have been fired, but I understand.
Right? Was she here for 1 year? For 2 years? All that?
1 year.
Okay. See, I don't like that. Anyway, nonetheless, though, as Blunt, see what you did? Got people mad at me. Sorry about that, y'all. We're back to the Eagles talk. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
I just had to spend a good
shout out to Big Chris, man.
Big Chris,
hit me up for the WNBA stuff. But Big Chris just said Higgins is out.
Yep. Yeah.
Higgins is out.
Yep. Big Chris said it, as Blunt said it. A few people was letting us know throughout the chat. And sorry about that, you guys. Again, I just had to pick his brain about that. But anyway. Let's get to the your keys to the game, Marcus, and then we're going to get to our bowl prediction and our score prediction. So, give me some of your keys to the game. Give me your keys to the game for the Eagles on offense, and give me your keys to the game for them on defense.
On offense,
how do they win this game?
I want to see Jalen Hurts throw the ball across the middle, which means AJ Brown has to get involved because AJ Brown is the king of yak yards. If he gets the ball in his hand, eventually he's breaking tackles. I believe Saquon is going to continue to do Saquon things. I don't think anybody can stop Saquon. If they put 8 men in the box, that means Jalen Hurts. All right, Jalen, here's your chance. beat him over the top. I've seen you do it before. Can you do it again? But the
Mm.
key is Jalen Hurts throwing the ball. We got to have. I want to see at least 25 attempts. You can still run 25 attempts throwing the ball, and still Saquon can get his.
I agree.
All right. On
unless they really can't stop the run, and you just say, "Hey, fuck it, I'm feeding guys."
Correct. if that's what they show, so be it. Roll with it. On defense, it's got to be Nakobe Dean in our secondary. But Nakobe Dean, because we got to get pressure on Joey Burrow, and we might need to send that blitz a little bit more. So I'm looking for Nakobe Dean to have a good game. He's going to be the key today. We got to have some good play from our linebackers. Once again, I'm going to keep saying it till it happens. Quinyon Mitchell, get that pick, brother.
I love it. It's funny. Real quick, when you bring it up, getting your 25 pass attempts, you can still run the ball, right? And like you said, if they can't stop it, just keep doing it, right? I want to show you something real quick, and that coincides with that. Do you watch the mic'd ups and all that kind of stuff with the Eagles and all that? So did you see the one with Saquon recently?
Yes.
Okay.
Let everybody else eat. Let the young fellas eat.
There was right. But there was a tidbit in that video that I felt like was on the margins. Like it was like a thread that it was just waiting to be pulled. And I screen grabbed it. I screen recorded it because it was such a potent moment for me. It gave me chills, brother. So I just want to show it to you real quick. I got to give the good brother Jamal Singleton, the running back coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, I got to give him his flowers. This brother, former military guy, by the way. So thank you for your service, Jamal Singleton. But just listen to this interaction between him and his guys in this moment. Just try to feel it. Hold on, give me a second. Where is it? Can you hear it? No, you can't hear it at all.
I can't hear it.
Huh. Interesting. Let me see something.
Oddly enough, I had that same issue.
Strange. What's going on with them?
Trying to get computer sound to pipe out during the stream. I'm trying to figure that out.
Let me do it this way then. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna do it this way. Give me 1 second, y'all. Sorry about that. Listen to this.
Come on, baby. Come on. Come on. He can't with us. They can't. We in this thing balling, baby. Right? Keep your mind focused. All that intensity stuff that we're talking about, let this fuel you, baby. We're right there. Let's be smart. Let's not get overhead. Let's stay in the damn moment. Right? Did y'all see that damn time we just had? Both of y'all was eating. Let's go. Both of y'all eating.
He sound like he from Philly.
Yeah, that's good stuff, boy.
Oh man, listen, y'all. I gotta hold on 1 second. My bad. Let me turn this off, y'all. I'm sorry. The good brother Jamal Singleton. When I saw that, I had to pause it. I got out of my seat, Marcus. I was out of my seat. He said they can't fuck with us.
Nah,
they can't.
That's the attitude. That's the attitude you gotta have, man.
The way his voice cracked told me he meant that. He meant every word of that. He felt that. He said they can't fuck with us. They can't. We're in this thing balling, baby. Yo, Marcus, they gave me life, and you a former running back. Real quick, I got to pick your brain on this. I know we're here longer than anticipated, but you former running back, you played this game for a long time. Take me inside that conversation. What's going through your mind as a running back? Your running back coach is talking to you like that. Y'all in the zone. Y'all feeling it. You feel like you could run through a brick wall if you could. Take me through that feeling in your body having a game like that.
That's where you're in a zone. My redshirt freshman year, I had 37 carries and 300 yards versus Marshall. Just give me the ball. And it is a very unique experience when you are in the zone. You are in the matrix. And what happens is as soon as you get that ball in your hands, everything slows down. You see everything. And that's what was going on for Saquon. He was seeing everything. Saquon is making people miss in the holes. I've seen linebackers fill the hole where he's going, and he makes a miss, staying in the same hole. That's when you are in the zone, and you can run folks over, and you can lower your shoulder and even though they make the tackle, you're gonna make them pay for it. That's being in the zone. And when you like that, everybody sees it and everybody responds to it. And that's exactly what you see. I had situations like that, maybe not with a coach, but I've had offensive linemen just like grab me and pull me close. Like, dude, that's how you supposed to effing do it. And like get hyped up because I'm running behind them. So if I'm eating, that means it's making them look good. And you just feel that energy just is infectious, man. So they were in the zone and they could not be stopped. Any Kenny Gainwell, man. All y'all Kenny Gainwell haters, y'all can go about y'all business because y'all know I'm a fan. So
listen, I've been hard on Kenny Gainwell the past couple seasons. I have been, but
I've been a fan, bro.
He's clearly this is clearly a good situation for him.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. I had to pick your brain about that. It just popped in my mind. All right, so we did keys to the game. Give me your bold prediction for the game and give me your score prediction.
Bold prediction. Let me see. Nakobe Dean gets another 2 sacks.
Oh, okay. My bold prediction almost came true last week. I had 1 sack from Bryce Huff. I needed one more. I was close though.
Yeah, we'll take the one. We'll take the one.
It.
Nakobe Dean gets another 2 sacks. The score. Let's go. You know what? I'm gonna go 27-24 Eagles.
Okay. My bold prediction for this game. Cooper DeJean intercepts Joe Burrow at the line of scrimmage. Returns it for a pick 6. Cooper DeJean pick 6 on Joe Burrow. Joey Burrow. That's like that. Some white on white crime. That's my
like Joe Cool.
That's my prediction. Cooper DeJean gets a pick 6 on Joe Burrow.
White on white.
I'm mad you caught that late. So shout out to Cooper DeJean for the bold prediction. Pick 6 from him. And my score prediction, is Eagles 28, Bengals 23.
Okay.
Eagles 28, Bengals 23. And what was yours again? You said
27-24.
27-24. Man, you kind of been in the same wavelength with these predictions for the most part. We was close last week. But yeah, you guys, listen. We appreciate y'all for locking in on the content. Before we get out of here, y'all, we need to go on a like spree. Something not adding up. The math not mathing, right? We got so many people in this live stream, and I'm only seeing a certain amount of likes. Before we get out of here, we need to go on a like spree. Smash that like button. Smash that like button. Smash that like button. You got one job, Eagles fans. You got one job, NFL fans. One job. Sit back, relax, kick your feet up, and hit that like button while you're at it.
Yes, sir.
Listen, I know you got your morning coffee next to you. I know you in the back probably grilling, man. I know you already made your food delivery and got your stuff catered for the game. I need you to hit that like button. It's currency in this YouTube space, and me and Marcus don't eat without it. So please smash that like button, y'all. We really, really, really do appreciate y'all. The likes, the dislikes, the discourse. Smash the like button on both channels. Make sure you are subscribed to both channels. We are live on Pro Fan Talk, Coach Marcus's YouTube channel. We are also live on Chalk It Up Sports, my YouTube channel, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge us to the game. So make sure you guys smash that like button. We are out of here. Your Philadelphia Eagles will face off against the Cincinnati Bengals today at Paul Brown Stadium. It is Paul Brown, right? Yes. Paul Brown Stadium. They go into the jungle. Who will leave victorious? Who will leave with blood on their shirt? We're gonna find out, man. But it's been a fun conversation today. This has been one of our best, in my opinion, one of our more fun live streams we've done, man. I really enjoyed this conversation today, Marcus. I feel like we got a lot done.
Yes,
sir. I feel like we were able to check a lot of boxes and really assess this team fairly, positively and negatively, and just be rational minded about what we're seeing and what we're experiencing with this team. So, Marcus, I really do appreciate you as always, brother. You know the vibes, you know the energy. I can never do this without you. This show is nothing without you. I look forward to these every single week, man. So, any final words from you before we get out of here, my brother?
Nah, man. Appreciate all my family and my friends tuning in. But we got to handle business. Go Birds.
Go Birds. Y'all heard it here first, man. Smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to Coach Marcus at Pro Fan Talk. I repeat, Pro Fan Talk. Go subscribe. Go hit the like button at Pro Fan Talk. And make sure you guys are subscribed to me, Tone DeShields II, at Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose. We just got to charge it to the game. Hey, Marcus, kick that record, man.
Fly like an eagle soars in the sky. Tone and Marcus always standing by. Bringing the heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle soars in the sky. Tone and Marcus always standing by. Bringing the heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry.